And Michael, how about you? What are you looking for from the Canadian government?
I expect the Canadian government, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau calls himself a friend of the Cuban people. Now, if you're a friend of the Cuban people and you see your people arbitrarily arrested, massively persecuted, as has been reported by Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International, and human rights organizations from all over the world, I would expect that if the government of Canada denounces repression in Venezuela, Belarus, and countries under dictatorship, it would do the same in Cuba to impose targeted sanctions against members of the Cuban dictatorship responsible for arresting, disappearing, torturing hundreds of young protesters that are now on the streets in Cuba.
Michael Chong, let me turn to you on this. What precisely would your party do differently? Would you curb travel, for example? What kind of sanctions might you consider?
We would place targeted sanctions on individuals of the regime that are responsible for these violations of universal human rights. Hundreds of people have been detained, often brutally, by this regime, and the current government has just turned a blind eye to it. I think the reason for this is that Trudeau is a friend of Cuba's authoritarian regime. In 2016, the Prime Minister visited Cuba. He physically embraced President Raul Castro, and he's proverbially embracing President Diaz-Canel now. That's in marked contrast, as you've pointed out, to the Canadian government's approach to other authoritarian regimes, such as Venezuela and Belarus.